Okay, here's a question with tons and tons of re-entry points. Starting off, we've got to turn the equation, that one, into this one. And the thing to focus on is that equation. There's something you know about tan theta from your notes. Dig out what tan theta equals. Notice tan theta doesn't appear in that, so substitute something else instead of tan theta from your notes, and then see if you can somehow strong arm that into this form. It's a show that question. This is your end point. This is your start point. Start with this, put something in for tan theta, and then see if you can transform it into that form. But even if you couldn't, this one here, re-entry point, we now have got to use an appropriate identity on this. This is your start, and we've got to turn it into this end point. So we can see what's disappeared is this term here. We've still got 15 cos theta appearing, so you need to substitute something that means sine squared theta. Once again, there is an identity in your notes that you can substitute into to turn that into that. For another 2 marks. But once again, even if you've scored no marks so far, don't give up, because the rest is still more and more re-entry points. Let me just swap the sheets over. There we go. So here's the next bit. Okay, we've now got to solve this quadratic equation. You should hopefully be able to see a family resemblance between the quadratic we're now solving and the endpoint of the last question. But this is just 2 marks for solving a quadratic. Just get in there and do that. You don't need to see the relationship with the rest of the question for those 2 marks. Hence you've got to explain why the only value of cos theta satisfying that is cos theta equals a quarter for 1 mark. Now where does this come from? Well, this is the equation that we had up here, and here we got 2 answers for C, and unless you've done something wrong, one of them will be C is a quarter, which is the answer given here, and the other one will be C equals something else, which is an answer you've got to explain away. The only value of cos theta satisfies that, therefore the other possibility for cos theta has got to be in some way impossible, and you've got to explain why it's impossible for 1 mark. Okay? Here's a big fat re-entry point. Hence solve this equation. Where did that come from? Where does this 4 tan theta sine theta equals 15 come from? All the way back up, top of the question here. This is the question that the equation that we turned into that we turned into that we turned into this, that we solved to get the only possible value of cos theta. So when it says this, we've done loads of work on that and realised the only possibility for this is cos theta equals a quarter. So when it says solve this equation, it's just saying we now know that means cos theta equals a quarter. What are your 2 values for cos theta? So your first one is just going to be an inverse cos, and your second one is going to be via a cast diagram, or your favourite method for getting the second solution. The other one in the range 0 to 360 degrees. So these 2 marks are really just about solving not a nasty equation like this, but a basic trig equation like that. Then on part C, write down in bold. That means there's not much work involved. This equation here looks horrible, but wait a minute, you've just solved that one. And the relationship between these 2 is very simple indeed. We've got something that's changed to something else. So the first thing you write down is that theta equals whatever that's changed into. And then look, we've got 2 values of theta. So if you say this theta could equal 2 values, and you know what theta is in terms of x, you can adapt these 2 solutions for theta into 2 solutions for x. They've cunningly fixed the range here for x so that it's just those 2 solutions you need corresponding to that range.